Okay, hi, all you normal people out there and the abnormal ones out there. Have to excuse me if the camera moves back and forth. I'm in the middle of a really bad windstorm. I mean, it's really blowing bad. Um, the Manx people on the Isle of Man, they're called the Manx. They have a word for this. It's called blowing a hoolie. Which simply means it's very, very, very windy outside. So, anyway, it's blowing a hoolie outside. It's rocking the truck back and forth, which is making my camera rock back and forth. So you have to kind of forgive me if I get used to it. But I realize it's not Halloween. It's not anywhere near Halloween. But I'm going to do a Halloween story. When I was in the military, toward the very tail end when I was getting out, I was stationed at Fort Carson, and one of my friends looked at me at work on Halloween Day. I think it was a Thursday. I think that Halloween fell on, and he said, "Do you mind if I bring my girls to the barracks tonight?" And I said, "No, man, bring them." Kind of taking your chance at an all-male battalion, but hey, that's all right. Not that anybody's gonna hurt the girls, but they might run out in their underwear, the guys might or something. So but he said, well, okay. He said, we'll be over a little bit later tonight. And I knew he had to go home, and he had to wait for his wife to get home, and then they were gonna eat supper, and then they'd get the girls in their costumes and stuff. So I had a little bit of time. So after work was over, I went to Chow, and I went up to the PX, and I bought some baggies, not unlike these. They didn't have dog bones in them though. And I bought some candy, and I filled the baggies with candy for the girls. And then I marked those baggies with the initial of my last name on here in indelible ink, like magic marker. And the girls were coming through the barracks, and I could hear them going, trick or treat, as they stopped at every door. Most guys weren't prepared. They didn't know the girls were coming through, but some of them had candy bars and stuff in their rooms. Some of them had a few sugary MRE parts and stuff like that. Some of them didn't have anything, and they'd just give them $1 or something like that, a couple of quarters. So the girls were coming through, and yes, it would have been better organized if he would have sit here and told everybody that they were coming through. But anyway, so they got to my room, and I said, wow, you guys look great, and I showed my buddy and his wife the bags of candy that had my initial on it. And I put it in the girl's bag, and I said, later tonight, I said, when you're done trick-or-treating, the girls are going to want their candy. And he said, yeah, they will. And I said, and you have to check it for safety first. So you give the girls the bag of candy with my initial on it, because I'm not going to hurt the girls. And he said, no, of course you wouldn't. And I said, so you give them the bag that has my initial on it. I said, they can eat that candy while you're doing a safety check on the rest of the candy. And his wife was like, that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. So it worked out really great. And after I got out of the military, whenever we'd have trick-or-treaters come by, the regular kids that I didn't know, would come by and trick-or-treat. And the kids that I did know that would come by, I would do the same thing. I would get the bag out, and it would have my initial on it, and I would let their parents know that bag of candy was from me, and it was safe. So that seemed to work out really good. So I don't know about you guys, but you might want to keep that in mind if you have trick-or-treaters that'll be coming through, during Halloween or at any other time of the year, that you might have kids coming over and getting treats from you and going back home. So you might want to keep that in mind, because that is a good way for the parents to know whether or not those treats are actually safe and whether or not they are not safe. So I thought I'd just bring that to you. That's all.